Hello there, my name is Richard McMunn from the interview training company passmyinterview.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to give you my A to Z of interviews. Now, if you have any interview coming up whatsoever, please do make sure you watch this from beginning to end, because I've got 26 brilliant tips to run through from A through to Z for passing any interview whatsoever. So before I get into those 26 tips, a very warm welcome to this tutorial. My name is Richard McMunn, the bald chap there in the centre, and I've been helping people for about 20 years now to pass their interviews. And in this video, like I say, we're going to focus on 26 brilliant, and they really are brilliant interview tips to make sure you pass. Please subscribe to the channel. Very much appreciate your support, and I would also much appreciate it if you gave the video a like. Thank you very much. So let's get straight into these 27 tips, A through to Z. A, the first tip: always prepare for 3 types of interview question, regardless of what interview you have coming up. Prepare for these. First of all, motivational interview questions, and I will tell you what these are in a second. So motivational interview questions, research-based interview questions, and behavioural interview questions. Those are the 3 ones that I want you to prepare for. So motivational questions are: tell me about yourself. Why should we hire you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? So I can pretty much guarantee 99% that these will come up during your interview. And I will tell you where you can get the answers for the majority of these as we go through the tutorial, and I will actually give you the answers for some of them as we progress. Now, research-based interview questions, there's just 2. What can you tell me about our company, and why do you want to work for us? So the first question catches out a lot of people. What can you tell me about our company? They haven't done any research, but you're going to be different, and I will tell you what to say. And then finally, perhaps the toughest type of interview question is behavioural type. These are the kind of questions that go, when have you worked as part of a team? So you have to give a specific example of when you've been in that scenario. Describe a time when you worked under pressure. Tell me about a situation when you used your initiative to solve a problem. And the way to answer behavioural type interview questions is by giving a specific example when you were in that situation that they are asking about. So, motivational questions, research and behavioural. B, always be positive during your interview. Any negativity or a lack of self-belief will get you nowhere. I understand that the majority of people are lacking in confidence. They're nervous about their interview. Perhaps you've not been to an interview for a long period of time. It does not matter. The important thing is to be positive, because positivity attracts positivity back. So if you're negative in your interview in any way, and I'll give you examples of those as we progress through this tutorial, then you are less likely to get the interview. So always smile, always be positive, and don't worry about things that you are lacking in. So if you don't have much experience, don't worry. I will tell you how to overcome it. If you don't have, if you have interview nerves and you don't have much confidence, don't worry. We will tackle that as we work through A through to Z of interviews. Letter C. Create a strong answer to the first interview question. So I can guarantee the first interview question is going to be, tell me about yourself. It will be. So you may as well prepare an answer for it. So here is my suggested answer to the interview question. So tell me about yourself. Thank you for inviting me to the interview today. I am a hard-working, determined and passionate employee who will always go out of my way to complete a task to the highest standards possible. Now, over the years, I have gained plenty of experience that is a match for this role. I have also studied the job description in detail, and I believe the core skills I possess of customer service, working under pressure, teamwork and attention to detail will all enable me to excel in the role. So if you employ me, I feel strongly you will be more than impressed with my strong work ethics, my ability to fit in well with any team, and also my passion for delivering outstanding customer service. So that's what I would say to the interview question, tell me about yourself. Now, why I want you to prepare an answer for that first interview question, tell me about yourself, is that if you answer that confidently, that gives you a platform to then move on for the rest of the interview. So practice your answer to the interview question, tell me about yourself, because that will then give you the confidence to move on. D, don't say at any time during the interview, I don't really have much experience. You don't need to say that. So don't say, I don't have much experience. Not only is it negative, and of course it might be truthful, you might not have much experience, but there is a better thing to say. So what you could say if you are in the position where you don't have much experience for the role you are being interviewed for, say this: my natural passion, drive and enthusiasm means I will not only learn the job quickly, but I will also be able to contribute positively from day one if you hire me in this position. Now, the majority of interviewers or hiring managers will know that you don't have much experience because they will have looked at your resume or your CV, but they have still invited you to the interview. So it is not perhaps an objection to them, but I will tell you how to deal with objections as we go through this tutorial. E. What is E? Well, E is even eye contact. This is essential when answering the interview questions. Now, some of you will go along to an interview and there will be one person interviewing you. So that's fine. Just make sure you look at them, you look them in the eye when you're answering. Not aggressively, but if we look at this lady on the left, she's smiling, she's got good posture, and she's looking at the person answering the question. But if there's more than one person on the interview panel, let's say this lady asks the first question, when responding to that interview question, you would look her in the eye, and then as you continue with your answer, you would then look at the other two people. So the point is, make sure you involve everyone during your answers to the interview questions. That's a really good, strong point in respect of interview technique. F, always focus on your strengths throughout the duration of the interview. So I know what my strengths are. Do you know what your strengths are? So I would encourage you to write down your top 3 strengths and then use them to your advantage during the interview. Now, my key strengths that I believe have always helped me in any job I've gone for or when running a business as an entrepreneur are my positivity, the fact that I am organised, and also my determination. So if I was going along to an interview, I'd write these down and then I would focus on them in my answers to the questions. So I would say my positivity will make the customer's experience all the more enjoyable. My organisational abilities mean I will carry out lots of tasks all at the same time. And also my determination means I will succeed whilst under pressure. So write down your top 3 strengths. They might be the fact that you're great with customers, you might have brilliant interpersonal skills or communication skills, or you might be a brilliant team worker. So write down your top 3 strengths, then think about how you would focus on them throughout the duration of the interview. G, give evidence-based answers to the interview questions where possible. So those people who pass interviews time and time again are those people who can show the interview panel that they have experience in a particular element of the job they're being interviewed for, and they can give evidence. So for example, if you're going for a job that requires an ability to deal with customers, they will give examples of when they've already worked with customers successfully. So this is what's called an evidence-based answer. So here's an example of one, an evidence-based answer for the interview question: when have you dealt with a customer complaint? So my answer would be, in a previous job, I often had to deal with customers. One particular time I was dealing with a customer complaint, and I went out of my way to not only follow the company's complaints procedure, but I also took the time to resolve the complaint successfully for the customer. I listened to their concerns, I apologised before coming up with a resolution that they were satisfied with. So I'm giving a specific example. That's the way to answer interview questions when they require evidence. H, have 2 to 3 questions ready to ask the interview panel at the end of your interview. So have 2 to 3 questions prepared already. Now, I've been interviewing people in the past, and I can remember one particular person asking me 7 questions at the end, and I had to stop them. It was too much. Now, I admired their enthusiasm, but you only need to ask 2 or 3 questions, and I think you should ask questions. Some people say, no, I haven't got any questions because you've answered everything during the interview. Don't say that. Just have 2 or 3 questions. Now, we need to make sure that you ask questions that put you across in a positive light. So these are simple questions. Here they are. So what are the plans for your company over the next 3 to 5 years? Because that shows that you're planning on staying with them for a long period of time. Next question. Have you launched any new products or services recently? And have they been a success? So you're giving the interview panel the opportunity to talk about something that they're passionate about. And then finally, what would you need me to focus on in the first few weeks of starting if I'm successful? So this demonstrates that you're already thinking ahead about what you're going to do in the role and what they want you to focus on. So 2 or 3 questions at the most, and make sure they're intelligent, and those 3 are great ones. By the way, if you need to pause the video at any time, please feel free to do so you can take notes. And also, if you haven't done so yet, I'd very much appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. So this is about I. When answering behavioural type interview questions, those questions when they say, can you give an example of when you've worked under pressure? Can you give an example of when you've used your initiative to solve a problem? Make sure you use the word I as much as possible. It's about you. So if they were to say to you, can you give an example of when you've worked as part of a team, and you start talking about everyone else in the team and you hardly talk about yourself, then you are not demonstrating the key skills that you have that are a benefit to them within their organisation. So talk about yourself as much as possible. So if the question was, tell me about a time when you worked as part of a team, I'd be saying, I listened to the team brief carefully, I focused on the end goal at all times, and I made sure I supported the other team members throughout the task. J is for job description. Make sure you read the job description or the job advert before you go to the interview. This is really, really important. One of the most important tips I would suggest. So if we look at a sample job description, a lot of them will say you need to be able to provide excellent customer service. You should be able to demonstrate excellent attention to detail skills. You must be able to work under pressure to complete challenging tasks, and also work as part of a team to meet the organisation's goals. So I have highlighted bold there the excellent customer service, attention to detail, work under pressure, work as part of a team. I would write them down. So I get the job description, I read it, and then I take a note of what the core skills are and qualities that they need for someone to carry out the job to the standards required. So I would then be reaffirming those during the interview. I would say, so my core skill, if they say, what are your strengths? I'd go, well, I'm really good at customer service. I have really strong attention to detail skills. I won't make mistakes. If you put me under pressure, that's when I perform to the highest standards. And I'm also brilliant at working with people. I prefer to work as part of a team. So I'll be focusing on those. And all you're doing then is you're resonating positively with the things that the interviewer or the hiring manager want from the successful candidate. K, keep using action verbs in your answers. Now, action verbs are positive words, and again, they will resonate positively with the interview panel. So what are action verbs? Some good ones you can use. Accomplished, write these down. Accomplished. I achieved some amazing things whilst working for my previous employer. Before I carry out a task, I make sure that I analyse the information carefully because I don't want to make mistakes. I boosted the performance of the team by contributing effectively. I always make sure that I communicated effectively during the team task. I completed things as quickly as possible to a high standard. I created lots of different ideas to help the team. So these are all action verbs. Some more: responded, undertook, updated, provided, worked, resolved, generated. These are all good action verbs that you can use, and they will put you across as a strong employee, someone attractive to the hiring manager. Great words to use. L, leave a lasting positive impression by saying the following at the end of your interview. So you get to the end of the interview. They've said to you, have you got any questions? You've asked those 2 or 3 questions, and then say this at the end of your interview. You can shove the job where no, don't say that. I'm joking. Do not say that at all. But I want you to say something at the end of your interview. Say this at the end. I just want to say thank you for inviting me along to the interview today. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed the process, and I genuinely hope I get the opportunity to show you what I can do and how I can contribute to your company. So, the reason why I want you to say something like that is you walk out of the interview room, so you shake their hand, you walk out, they are then probably going to assess you. So they will discuss you and mark you. That last thing that you've said will stick in their minds. Okay, nobody else will say this, I'll guarantee it. But you're being polite and you are being positive. M, make sure you give a firm handshake at the start of the interview and also at the end prior to leaving. You will notice this lady here, this pleasant young lady, is looking at this person in the eye. So don't do it, don't shake the hand and look away. Shake somebody's hand, and you should. Whenever you shake someone's hand, you should look them in the eye. Not aggressively, but just look at them. It's really good interview technique. Okay, this doesn't look very good. So this is a bit of an exaggeration, but N, never say you didn't get on with your former boss or co-workers during the interview. Just don't say it. Even if it's the case, and it does happen. You know, I've worked for people before that I didn't really get on that well with, but I would never say it during the interview. I would never say it. So when they say to you, why do you want to leave your current job? Don't say, well, don't really get on with the team. They don't understand me. What you should say, or what I would say instead is, well, my employer has been brilliant. I've really enjoyed my time there and we've achieved some amazing things together. However, I'm now ready for a new challenge and I want to work for an exciting, forward-thinking organisation like yourself where my skills and experience will be put to good use. That's a safe answer. That's what I would use when they say to you, why do you want to leave your current job? Oh, only sit down in the interview chair when they invite you to do so. So it's a little tip, but these all add up to positivity and putting you across in a good manner. So I've been in interviews before, and it's a common known fact that the interviewer will form an impression of you within the first 7 or 8 seconds as soon as you walk into the room. So you shake their hand firmly, you look them in the eye, and then don't sit down in the interview chair until they invite you to do so. It's just good manners. So stand by the chair and go, okay, take a seat, thank you very much. And then you sit there. So you're forming a good impression. But if we wind back a little bit, you attend the interview location and you're sat outside, usually there will be a receptionist. Now they might be watching you and they might be feeding back later on to the interviewer or the hiring manager. So if you look at these 4 people here, you can see that this person is looking at his watch. The lady on the end is resting their elbow on the radiator. It doesn't look good. So just, sit there, smile, be polite, and just wait patiently. Okay, form a good positive first impression. P, as I've mentioned throughout, positive words, phrases, and sentences will make a huge difference to your scores during your interview. They will. Okay, examples of positive keywords and phrases, and take a note of these. My strong values and work ethics mean I will always perform to an exceptionally high standard. If you hire me in this position, I will not let you down. During difficult and challenging tasks, I always remember to remain calm, composed, and focused. I am the type of person who thrives under pressure, so they're all positive. So be positive throughout your interview. Q, quality employees are not necessarily the ones who have the most experience. You can have loads of experience, but you can still be not a great person to work with. That's a fact. So if you don't have much experience, don't worry. And even if you do have a lot of experience, you still need to show that you can learn the role quickly. So these are the most important things a hiring manager or an employer will want from you. Your ability to learn quickly. I don't want to spend weeks and months supervising you. I want you to be able to go away, learn the job quickly. Also, your likability factor. So I do apologise, I spelled that wrong, but your likability factor is really important, okay? If you get on in the team, people like you, that is a big plus. Your enthusiasm for the job. So you want it, and the enthusiasm for the job will trump any level of experience. If you turn up at my interview and your enthusiasm, and I like you, and you will learn the job quickly, that's a winner for me. R, research the following 3 things before you go to your interview. Number 1, what does the company do? So have a look on their website, find out what they do, because if they say to you, okay, tell us about our company. Now, I have asked that question before numerous times at interviews, and most people don't know, and that is shocking. You should know what the company does, and the more you know about them, the better. If you can find out a little bit about their history, then do, because that will show above and beyond what most people would know about a company. What about their latest products or services? And also go on their website and have a look if they have a latest news section. So you could say, oh, recently I noticed that you'd launched a new product. So that's impressive because then it shows that you are up to speed on what they are doing. These are all basic things that will get you higher scores than your competitors. S, make sure you sit a mock interview before you attend the real thing. Now, I'm going to tell you soon where you can get a full list of 21 interview questions. Most of them will come up during your interview. So why not get somebody to sit in front of you and fire the questions at you? And you can practice them. Tell me about yourself. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What would your former work colleagues say about you? Questions like that. So practice them and then you'll be far better prepared than everyone else. T, this is a good one. Take the time to understand the interviewer's objections about you. Now, all interviewers will have objections relating to interviewees. So if I went along to an interview, they would have some objections about me. It's just normal. But nobody, apart from you, will consider what those objections are. And this is about looking at yourself and going, well, they're bound to have some objections. Now, common objections might be, I'm not sure you have the experience for this particular position, or I'm not sure you would fit into our team. Or a common one is, I'm concerned about the number of jobs you've held in such a short period of time. These are all common interview objections. So how do we overcome them? Let's have a look at this one. I'm not sure you've got the experience for this position. I would say, I can understand your concerns. Although I lack some experience, I more than make up for it in my ability to learn things quickly. I can follow rules and training to the letter. And I also have lots of enthusiasm and passion for getting the job done quickly. I'm someone who will fit into your team and I will learn the job in super quick time, which means you don't need to spend your valuable time supervising me or continually monitoring my performance. So I'm overcoming that objection. So you're selling yourself. I'm not sure you would fit into our team. Here's what I would say. One of my core strengths is I understand your organisation needs to employ someone who will not only fit into the team, but who will also focus on helping you achieve your goals and objectives. At the end of the day, I will only have a job with your company if I do fit in and I perform to a very high standard. I feel I am a strong team worker and the interpersonal skills I possess will ensure I work hard to help your team complete the tasks and projects it needs to focus on. So I would be overcoming that objection. This is a real common one. A lot of people have lots of jobs for various reasons. It's normal, but it would be a concern. So I'm concerned about the number of jobs you've held in such a short period of time. Here's how I would answer this. It's been important for me to gain employment with a company that is a match for my own skills and experience. Now, I can totally understand your concerns, but please let me reassure you that having researched the person's specification, the job description and your company in detail, I feel very confident I would be with you for many years to come and you'd be more than satisfied with my performance. What's important here is that you recognise the objection. I totally understand your concerns and then you overcome them. That's the way to do it. You understand what the hiring manager or interviewer is looking for and give it to them during the answers to the interview questions. Okay, understand what they're looking for. How do you do that? Well, there is this thing that I've just mentioned in the previous tip, which is called the person's specification. So the interviewer or the hiring manager will have created an outline, a blueprint of what they want from the successful candidate. So you get a copy of that and then you match it. So let's have a look at an example for a particular job. So this is an example person specification for the administrative assistant. Okay, so you can see they're managing multiple tasks efficiently. So prior to the interview, I would look at this document and then I would think of a time when I have managed lots of tasks efficiently. I would also think about a time when I was flexible in a work situation. Maybe I stayed behind at work for a long period of time to help out my manager. When have I communicated effectively? Maybe I had to give a presentation at work or I had to change and adapt my style of communication to suit the audience. And also, when have I worked under pressure? I would give an example of that. So by getting a copy of the person's specification for your particular job that you're being interviewed for, you are not only being savvy, but you are being intelligent because it will enable you to find out what they're looking for and then you can give them evidence in your answers. V. Victory at the interview is dependent on the following 4 things. Number 1, your likability, what you like as a person. And don't forget what I mentioned about positivity attracts positivity. Giving evidence, as I've just mentioned, of how you match the job specification, your enthusiasm for the role, and are you a match for their company? Will you fit into their team? Those are the 4 things. They're really important. W. When the interview is over, go home or back to work and then send the following thank you letter or email. Actually, don't send it from work. Send it from home. Okay? You could do it on your phone if you wanted to as soon as you leave the building of where the interview is. But send this, and there's an important reason why I want you to send this. I'll tell you in a second. But this is what I want you to send. Subject, a thank you note following my interview today. Dear Sir, Madam, I wanted to follow up with a quick message to say thank you for inviting me along to the interview. I very much enjoyed the experience, and if you need any further information to assist in making a decision, please don't hesitate to contact me. Now, what this does is 2 things. It's positive and it's polite, but let's say you don't get the job. Let's say, hopefully you will, but let's say you don't get the job. It's another positive thing that they will remember about you. Now, a lot of people go for jobs and it doesn't always work out. So I've been in a situation before where I've interviewed for a position, the person started, it didn't work out, and the first thing I do is I go back to my list of people who didn't get the job but I interviewed them. You will be the person who stands out in their mind positively if you've sent that. So make sure you send it. Nobody else will send it. X. Don't say any of the following during your interview. Please don't say these. I don't really have much experience, or how much leave will I be entitled to? You shouldn't be asking that question. I plan to stay with you for a year or so and then I'll be moving on. I've had people say that to me before. I admire their honesty, but I'm not going to employ them. I am not going to spend a whole year training them up, getting them competent in the role for them to then leave. I just wouldn't take you on, regardless of how good you were. I didn't really see eye to eye with my former boss. Don't say it. Or my work colleagues didn't seem to understand me. So don't say any of those. Don't forget, just be positive at all times. Why? Now, I've got one more tip after this, so please do watch it. But you can download my 21 great answers to tough interview questions at that link in the top right-hand corner. So I've created 21 that you can download. They're really strong answers, and they will put you across in that great light, that positive manner that I want you to come across in. Z, the final one, the Z. Make sure you get a good night's sleep prior to your interview. Now, this is obviously important. You will perform better if you get a good night's sleep. So, finally, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that. Please do support my channel by subscribing, and please give it a like if you've enjoyed it. I'm shattered now, but I've really enjoyed giving you those 26 tips. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments section below. But I hope you've enjoyed my training, and I wish you the best in passing your interview. Have a brilliant day.